Samaria, the Cane of Burna, the hammer, the bow, the fire rod, or even bombs. So all of those present their own unique challenges, managing your resources throughout escape, or you could end up with that sword too, just like the regular standard mode. And it looks like our runners are off, and Uncle has some bad news for them. When we get half magic in the first chest, and I wonder if our runners are almost hoping for a magic weapon at this point. Making their way to the secret passage. And we see the Cane of Burna. Oftentimes one of the more tricky to manage the resources with, but with that early half magic, this could go really well for our runners. They'll have extra opportunity to farm for bombs and escape than they normally would with that weapon. And fylion is making good use of the pots here, getting 2 kills without expending any of his magic. Unfortunately, not getting any drops out of it. Both of our runners are neck and neck here, heading into the castle. Now, Cane of Burna is a weapon that you can get a pretty standard time for escape with if you manage it well. Right around that 6-minute mark for the well-executing runners. And I wonder if fylion had a little bit of NMG muscle memory there. The good news is he'll be able to get that chest on the way back, and it really isn't that important anyway. Oh, never mind. I guess it was the flippers. Not important. Maybe I was a little bit wrong there. I thought I saw bombs at the corner of my eye. We have the map, so we know that the back of escape's going to have 3 items for our runners. Definitely want to find that bomb at this point. Notably, both of them have been making good use of that half magic, getting a few extra kills than you would normally see with the Cane of Burna. However, just getting some red rupees for their trouble and not the bombs they're looking for. So I'm sure fylion realizes that he didn't check this chest, and he'll be able to see it clearly. He has been running a lot of NMG, so I don't know if it was muscle memory or just missing the button press, but here he goes. He sees his flippers, breathes a sigh of relief. He can rest easy that he didn't skip them. All right, so our runners are making their way towards the back of escape here with Zelda in tow. Still no bombs, and they are running low on their magic resource, so not too much more opportunity to farm. There are 5 small magic pots in the back of escape here if our runners know where they are. But again, they are running low on resource, so bomb farming opportunities will be limited. And fylion got a bomb drop from the snakes there, while BigDunka is coming up empty. So Dunka might get out of this without finding a bomb, and we'll have to see from fylyon's screen whether that's going to be a big deal. All right, so we have our single arrow, a piece of heart, and the blue mail. So nothing required, but that blue mail is a very nice find. And just an arrow upgrade in the Sanctuary chest. Looks like BigDunka is headed towards the Lumberjack Cave. You do get some checks up here with an additional pull tree and the Hoarder Crab. So some runners will opt to go directly to the Lost Woods, but this does give a few extra opportunities to get resources, which they're kind of low on, and we do see bombs from the Hoarder, so working out for BigDunka here. Looks like fylyon's making the same choice. And that tier 2 tree pool is small magic pots, so with that half magic plus the blue cane, it's actually fairly useful at this point. And Dunka gets a nice little heart drop to give himself a little bit of breathing room. He was sitting on half a heart, and even though the enemies around here don't do a lot of damage, they do half a heart of damage. And he finds the bow sitting here in the Lost Woods, so that's a great early weapon to find. We have not yet had a map check, but that might provoke our runners to check their map to see whether Eastern Palace is a pendant or a crystal. Oh, and we see the hook shot here and the book. Some nice value here in Blind's Hut. So now we're starting to see the seed take shape. We're getting items that have not immediate progressive opportunities with the hook shot, but the book does get us into that front door of Desert Palace. And now we see the hammer, so things are really picking up. And the Power Glove. Wow. We are just drowning in progression here in Kakariko. So our runners are now a Moon Pearl away from Dark World access, but right now they can, through a sequence break, clear Eastern Palace. They can get into Desert Palace, and they can actually sequence break all of Death Mountain in the Light World too. So a lot opening up quickly.
Good evening.
Hello.
So, where are we at?
Well, our runners started with a nice Cane of Berna escape, and Kakariko is positively loaded.
Oh, I missed Blue Cane. I missed Blue Cane escape. Well, it's good to see Kakariko paying off as always.
So who do I have joining me on commentary this evening?
I am Voidborn Beast.
Well, welcome and thank you for filling in. It's very much appreciated.
Not a problem. So, it looks like BigDunka has done his Kakariko cycle, so where's he off to now?
Well, BigDunka did not get lucky enough to find a bomb and escape, so he's checking the back now. All that's in there is the blue mail and a little bit of junk, but luckily we found that glove pretty early, so he can get this off his radar pretty quickly.
I really can't say anything bad about blue mail. It's a great defensive item, so...
And fylion making his way to the South Shore.
Pretty standard issue play. It's a safe one because there is a lot of items down here, especially in Mini Moldorm Cave.
Yeah, but BigDunka is taking that bow over towards Eastern Palace. We do know now that it is a crystal, so he can, as long as he's comfortable with the Dark Room, complete it.
I think he actually wants to go talk to Hobo first.
Yeah, looks that way. So we'll see where he goes from here. But Hobo is a great check too. We got those early flippers, and there's no real great time to go to Hobo, so this is as good as any.
Oh yeah, it's a fairly out of the way location, so getting early flippers, I'd say is a bit of a send in this direction, but okay.
Yeah, so I guess 5 minutes in we're in go mode, but not quite, but it's feeling that way. We get the mirror from Hobo. He's a vain Hobo, but giving up his mirror here.
He knows it's important, so he'll let you borrow it for now.
So it looks like Dunka's just getting all the flipper checks out of the way. They did end up with over 500 rupees after Kakariko, so they can check all these locations.
A bit unfortunate about the bombs at the start, but yeah, just being able to come straight lamp.
So forget what I said about sequence breaks. Now pretty much all the Light World is open.
That's a really nice start to a siege, especially with both Eastern and Hera being crystals.
Yeah, absolutely. They have full access and fully in logic to Light World crystals here. So our runners might be in the Light World for quite a while they clean up everything available to them.
It's nice because it's got a fair bit of extra safety. They don't have to worry about going into the Dark World and immediately running into Murder Dactyls when they still got like 3 or 4 hearts.
Yeah, and we see the Quake Medallion coming from Zora, so the items just keep coming and coming.
So if that's the case, which item is going to be the uncooperative one?
Well, so far it seems to be that sword. they have a whole lot of weapons, but no sword to slash here.
Oh no, it's going to be one of these seeds. So nice in every way, but keeping that sword away from you.
Yeah, so far that's the way it's been going. Dunka continues to avoid the South Shore, but he has good options ahead of him that don't involve heading that way. So this makes perfect sense.
Admittedly, South Shore doesn't appear to necessarily be paying out that much either, especially when he keeps finding stuff elsewhere, like Ice Rod.
Yep, there's the first of the rods that we're likely to find, although not necessarily required to find the fire rod on a rarer percentage of seeds.
Not too likely, just because we've already got one.
Yeah, with one Light World pendant, it's very, very unlikely that fire rod won't be required.
All right, now we're getting that Eastern from BigDunka.
Yep, and fylion is clearing up those flipper checks, so he's about to get his Quake Medallion.
Hopefully that'll be one of the two that they need, assuming they need to get into those dungeons.
Yeah, it seems likely. Okay, using the hookshot method to get a little bit faster room clear here. Saves you a couple of screen transitions and speeds up your clear of Eastern.
The hookshot is just a great navigation item prior to getting boots. There are so many items or walls that you can actually hook onto with it, so it's nice to see it put to use like that.
And fylyon's opting for another perfectly good play. He's heading up towards Death Mountain, and even no sword in hand, but he can clear Hera with that hammer, and he can get all the items. So on East Death Mountain, you do have 7 items of Paradox Cave and the 1 item in Spiral Cave.
So Eastern gives us our first sword on BigDunka. I bet he's relieved that he's not going to have to go most of an hour with that one.
Yeah, finding an early sword is always a great thing. They can definitely avoid being hidden in the craziest locations way longer than you think is possible, but getting that first one out of the way is great. You need 2 of them to beat the game, though, so we'll still be looking for at least 1 more.
You can at least protect yourself from stuff like popos and dead rocks now, though. It also means if they find boots, they don't have to worry about immediately smashing their face into everything while running around.
Yeah, having that initial fighter sword makes boots so much better.
Alright, I'm pretty sure fylion is probably going to head into Death Mountain. He's in Death Mountain. Good job, me. Tower of Hera while he's up here.
Yep, it certainly makes sense for fylion to clear Hera, get the crystal, and also check what's on that ether tablet, even though he cannot yet grab it.
One of the advantages of early book.
So we're here in the same situation as you guys, but it does sound like BigDunka is taking down Armos, and oh, there it is. We do see a red rupee on Armos and a crystal.
What?
And fylion with vanilla moon pearl.
Pure vanilla. Okay, well, that's actually the first time I've seen that in Randomizer.
Yeah, whenever an item shows up in its vanilla chest, it's you know, you always make note of it and you always remember it, and that's certainly one that I don't think I've seen so far. I've seen Moon Pearl and Hera quite a few times, but never in its vanilla chest.
Trolldorm immediately living up to his name and just booting fylion off the edge, though.
Yeah, Trolldorm will do that from time to time. The hammer makes it a little bit easier with only needing 3 hits, but it's still very difficult to manage here.
It's got a really, really small hitbox, so it's really hard to get used to actually fighting him with that. Especially when he just decides to all of a sudden swerve around and just bop you right off the platform, and is really... Sometimes it feels like there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, and it does look like there was an item left in the basement, because Phylion's going back in.
But will he run in circles, or will he coffee break?
Looks like he's using the bomb strat to take a little break here on the pegs, using the iframes to probably stand up, get a little stretch in.
I'm actually kind of curious now if he's on the right side of those blocks, if he can get to the door, or if he's going to have to walk off, because it looks like he's kind of... I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's further. He's far enough over, but it's very, very close. Nope, he was 1 pixel off, I think. So yeah. And we did get a Dark World map check from BigDunka. I didn't catch most of what was there, though. I think we had a 5 and 6 Turtle Rock and Thieves Town, but I didn't catch the pendants.
Oh my god, that bunny sprite is so good. It's powder on ether tablet.
Yep, and Fylion only finding a big 20 there in the basement of Hera, so making his way over to East Death Mountain.
It's at least worth the peace of mind that it's not an item, even if it's not what you want to see.
Yeah, it's a really tough call when you found this many items so early, but just leaving that location behind can drive you crazy, especially if you're getting close to go mode and you have just random locations left. It can really weigh on your mind.
Oh yeah, it's really easy to be concerned about these despair locations, because do I really have to come back there? Come on, game, be nice to me.
So we'll see what's over here in Paradox Cave. Now that we do have Dark World access, we might finally be tapped out in the Light World. I'm not sure. We do have 7 items over here, so don't count us out yet.
Plenty of opportunity to pull like 3 or 4 progression items at once, and then be concerned about where you need to go.
Yeah, with what our runners have, they can already full clear that green pendant swamp. So we'll have to see if either one of them makes that an early play. I think they'll do overworld checks before that, but that's 7 items.
Oh man, another green pendant swamp. There's so many. Oh, boots and silvers.
And a sword.
Okay,
So did you say 3 progression items?
I did. Yes.
Yep. Good call. Good call. So interestingly, after BigDunka checks Paradox Cave, he could bomb jump and go all the way back to Ether Tablet and grab that powder, which is an advantage that fylion does not have. And similarly, BigDunka also getting a little bit of love here from Troldorm. It's some nice Troldorm action.
Being pushed back onto the top platform. There we go.
We have Hype Cave starting out with the mitts.
Instant hype.
So just the mitts, but I mean the mitts alone are enough to be hype.
Oh yeah.
Plus, getting a few hearts doesn't hurt when you have this nice early Dark World access, and you were sitting on just 5 at the time.
BigDunka still has 3, so...
So fylion, because he didn't come over to Eastern before, he is actually going to combo Palace of Darkness with Eastern Palace, both crystals, both that he can full clear. So this is going to be a great efficient play from him.
Oh yeah, he'll be able to not... He won't even have to come back here later, probably. Assuming he runs over to Pyramid as well, that basically just finishes off this entire part of the map in one go.
Yeah, the only other thing he might have to come back to the east side of the map for would be turning in the green pendant if that becomes a thing later on in the seed.
I hope it doesn't. Nobody wants to full clear pendant swamp.
Actually, now 2 of the 3 pendants are fully available in Logic. Those boots guarantee us the ability to fully clear Desert Palace as well. So can't do Ice Palace yet, and I'm sure our runners are not happy to be thinking about pendants at all yet because they have plenty to do that don't involve those.
Oh yeah, at this point they can get over to and finish Thieves Town. They can at least look in Skull. Don't have the Fire Rod yet, but...
Yeah, they have the entire north route, both bonk spots, plus the Graveyard Ledge. They have the beginning of Skull Woods. The Village of Outcasts has the 3 chests that are there, plus the Smith sequence. There are so many things that are available to our runners that they're not thinking pendants yet at all.
I'll be honest, I'd be thinking pendants in their shoes, but that's just how... That's just V29 so far.
Well, let me rephrase that. They are thinking, God, with everything I have in front of me, I sure hope I don't end up in Pendant Swamp full clearing it.
Yeah. That's probably a safer guess as to what they're thinking.
And BigDunka is about to get their boots. It's pretty much his favorite item. He loves to bonk around a bit and add to his bonk count, so he'll be very happy to see them here this early on.
We all know bigger numbers are better, so... They're both just immediately bonking that chest when they get the boot.
Yeah, he gave us a nice bonk there, but interestingly, he didn't opt to go all the way to Ether Tablet. Now, it is quite a long check for one location, and it's probably not even that much faster than just climbing again when you want to do it. So, not a big loss, but just an interesting thing to note.
Ultimately, if he can also get Red Cane and Mushroom, he's not even going to need the powder. It's a safety item, but I'm pretty sure neither of these two need it. We're going for this apparently.
Yeah, I think he has the bomb to get over there set up correctly, but unfortunately he threw his other bomb up instead of to the left. You know, when you're trying to do precise input, sometimes you throw in the wrong direction.
I mean, he got the jump itself first try, so still.
Yes,
still
that's definitely the important part.
Little bit further divergence here with BigDunka going into Village of Outcasts while fylion is doing the double dungeon over here.
Yeah, and unfortunately for BigDunka, he could make this overworld routing more efficient if he actually went to Hype Cave first, because we know he would get the mitts there. He will, get them, and will have the opportunity to come back later. But just a little thing that might give fylion a little bit of a routing edge later on.
Yeah, it'll save him the trip back. Fortunately, you do come through Village of Outcasts and Kakariko quite a bit anyways, so I think BigDunka is going to have plenty of opportunities to put the Titans to use. The mitts.
And we have our first bottle in the Sea House, and conveniently, with that mirror, we can check what the Sick Kid has very, very easily.
Looks like we're going to get Thieves Town first, though. Sick Kid can wait. He doesn't need his Mezen that badly.
Yeah, and honestly, this is slightly more efficient because you're doing a little bit less backtracking. So, nice decision making here. Meanwhile, fylion did not find a whole lot in Pod here, but he will be getting a crystal momentarily.
Yeah, it's actually kind of strange for Pod not to have like anything of particular note in it. I find that's one of the dungeons that consistently has at least something.
Yeah, with 5 items, it usually does.
Finally, I'm just taking the all of the turtles out quickly. That was a really fast turtle room. Getting a bit of damage boost off those ones.
Yeah, you can tell that fylion has been practicing the classic NMG strats. He had a nice hammer yomp piece, had a nice turtle room. A lot of these things are pretty similar to what you would find coming up in the vanilla game. He is only on Fighter Sword, which is a little bit different, but otherwise fairly similar.
That was a nice Helmosaur fight. That entire dungeon was just really nice for him. It didn't produce anything useful, but aside from the crystal. But still really nice showing of how to quickly and efficiently do pod.
Yeah, absolutely. And BigDunka wants that heart, but he's not going to get it with it sitting back there. So our runners have 4 crystal dungeons that they can currently clear, and in a couple minutes, both of them will have finished 3 of them. Slightly different 3, but they're making great progress towards the completion of the seed. It's just after that early rush of items, what's going to be the thing that gets us, going for those last few crystals?
Well, they only have a couple of items that can really get in the way, so... Like, we already know where Mitz is. We're going to need Flute at some point, the Fire Rod, and the Red Cane. Are we seriously only 3 items?
We would need 1 or 2 medallions, and possibly what they already have, or 2 that they don't.
Oh, time for blind. So this fight is scary, but I get the feeling that BigDunka is going to have no issues even with 6 hearts.
Yeah, he's a tiny bit off script here, but he should be fine. And if worse comes to worse, he does have that blue cane, but no, he doesn't need it. Finishes off with 3 hearts, gets his crystal and his tempered sword.
Wow, okay. A sword from the boss that it doesn't actually matter on. So that's good to know because BigDunka is already set for a fairly simple Ganon fight. As entertaining as it can be to see Master Sword fights, it's really nice as a runner to be able to not have to put up with spinning 500 times to kill him.
Yeah, at this point, our runners are pretty set with the basic equipment. They'll both be getting Tempered Sword. They have Silver Arrows. They have Blue Mail. They have free access to the powder whenever they go up Death Mountain again, if they want it. So they have a nice selection of items.
That was a mushroom on Bumper Cave.
Yeah, it looks like we're getting our first check of these bonk locations.
Nice time to do North Dark World while you're over here. Opting not to go and look at the 2 items in Skull Woods, but you don't have those yet, BigDunka.
Yeah, Skullwoods is it's a tough call to make. It does, route in nicely with your overworld checks here. However, you're not even guaranteed to get a single item if you don't have the Fire Rod. It's likely that you'll get at least one, but you're not even guaranteed that. So it's very tough to decide when you're actually going to go there if you're missing that Fire Rod.
Yeah, I can see putting it off until you have Fire Rod. The only problem is this being randomizer. Sometimes the game's like, here, I'm going to put Fire Rod in Skullwoods. It's like, ah.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the trick of the whole thing.
Does this look like vanilla to you?
We do see fylion making his way to Pyramid and possibly Catfish.
It's probably the best time to route it in.
And one thing he might decide to do, because he already did the Light World Flipper locations, he might backtrack and hookshot over and check the bonk locations and Graveyard Ledge from there. That would actually be a slightly faster way to get all the checks in that he probably wants to do. We'll see if he does it.
It's sort of just like doing the opposite routing. One's going clockwise, the other's going counterclockwise around the map. Unfortunately, Phylion's got him the Titan's Mitts like right off the start.
And as we see BigDunka, he's making his way to Catfish as well.
Now he heads down the pyramid. Ah, maybe not. Okay.
Yeah, since he's probably planning to go to Palace of Darkness fairly soon, it's probably just as fast to route in Pyramid before that, coming from Catfish. It does look like Fylion saving quitting and opting to go from Sanctuary. Not a bad choice at all. It probably slightly less efficient because he'll have to either go backtrack to the North Dark World to check Graveyard Ledge, or you know, split up the route for the Smith sequence.
All right. BigDunka's got his Titan mitts now, so he's set on that requirement.
Notably, though, outside of the Myths locations in Village of Outcasts, we're starting to run out of things that aren't pendant dungeons.
Yeah, this is the part where the runners are definitely getting concerned about having to pick one of the options and hope it's the right one. Oh wow, BigDunka just doing South Shore now. I forgot that he hadn't done this earlier.
Yeah, and this is fairly interesting. If he wanted to, he could actually have done the check the dam for the first time while going into Swamp Palace. However, since he hasn't even checked Mini Moldorm Cave yet, that's a bit of a gamble to go into a pendant at this point.
All right, fylion. Let's see if we get anything out of Skull Woods.
Fylion making nice work of those Gibdos using silver arrows. That's a vulnerability that a lot of people just don't realize, but Gibdos die to a single silver arrow, so it's a really nice weapon to use when you're in here without the fire rod or anything else, but you have those silvers.
I didn't know that either. Because I thought they were just immune to normal arrows.
They are, and that's the trick. That's why a lot of people don't know.
Well, I'll definitely have to keep that in mind for the future, because I don't know how many times I've not fired silvers at them. So we went from having a fairly small amount of health to plenty of health at this point.
Yeah, I was about to comment on the same thing. BigDunka was on like 3 hearts for the first half hour of this seed, and suddenly he has 10. I don't know exactly how that happened, but I'm sure he's feeling pretty good right now.
Rules got plenty of love today.
So BigDunka is coming up here and checking Dark Death Mountain. That's a great check. It's all available, and I wonder if he'll finish it up with a Spike Cave check. And it does look like he's opting to go the north route here to open up the Turtle Rock portal. He knows he'll have to do it at some point, and he was probably going to check the medallion anyway, so this is perfectly fine, except
there's a dead rock in the way.
Runs into a dead rock. And our tracker is telling us that when we were missing a little bit there, Fylion found the Cane of Samaria in Skull Woods. So that actually does let you get into Turtle Rock if Quake is the medallion. Although without the Fire Rod, you're likely not to get very far.
It is Quake, though.
Yep, and BigDunka, you're here, you have the magic, might as well open it up, because you're going to Super Bunny Cave and you can refill your magic immediately anyway.
So I'm really curious to see if fylion makes a trip up there, if he's going to opt to go into T-Rock, even if he hasn't found the fire rod yet.
You know, if you're up there and your choices are just peeking at that first chest and seeing what happens, or going to a pendant dungeon, it's not a bad choice while you're up there just to peek inside. The real danger, though, is if it lets you get all the way to Laser Bridge and you end up with nothing.
Oh,
but,
well.
We get a fire rod and a flute.
You want to give us the I don't know, another medallion too? Oh, Butter Sword, okay.
So right now, we need to check on the medallion requirement for Meyer, but that might be commentator no mode right now.
Yeah, if it's Quake, then we've found all of the items between both runners.
And Duncan grabbing that powder while he's up here makes perfect sense. It unlocks another item and nice safety, even though he probably doesn't feel the need for safety quite as much as he did a little bit ago.
Yeah, he's got pretty good health, so, and half magic on top of that too. So he's just gonna quickly run through Spike Cave here.
Yeah, so fylion is going to take the crystal lead here very shortly, but it really just depends when BigDunka makes a play on Skull Woods to find that Cane of Samaria, versus when fylion finally makes the play up to Dark Death Mountain.
Yeah, if he goes in the Skull Woods and gets that red cane, which he has incentive to do because he's got the fire rod now. Hopefully they'll do that without either of them going into any pendant dungeons unnecessarily.
Yeah, I don't see either of our runners, provided that fylion goes and checks the Dark World Death Mountain. I don't see either of them going into a pendant dungeon unless they need another medallion and they can't find it.
With the amount of crystals, that can be cleared at this point, though.
Yeah, absolutely. They will get every crystal dungeon and probably every overworld location done before they step foot into a pendant dungeon.
This looks like the Skull Woods from BigDunka as well, so he'll pick up his red cane and probably be in a bit of a rush to immediately check Meyer, because once he has that, that could be go mode.
Yeah, absolutely. You would expect him to full clear Skull Woods while he's here, make sure he gets both items and the crystal, but then go directly to Misery Mire and check that medallion.
I'm hoping for the sake of a fast run that it is Quake as well, but it is a 1 in 3, so.
Yeah, it seems like when you get that early medallion, though, it turns out to be the case that it's, both of them for some reason. I don't know. That's probably just, confirmation bias, but hey, it's what I've seen.
It's Randomizer. It's confirmation bias, the game. That's why everybody develops their own routes, just based on what they consider to be what happens the most.
Yep. So we have fylion finishing up Thieves Town at the moment, and BigDunka is on their way to that Cane of Samaria.
I'm curious if he'll check Ped just because he can.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he does have mirror and book. I think though that he'll be just really excited to go and check that Meyer medallion and maybe not take the time. Although some people like to play up the ped check to chat, so we'll have to see.
It's not necessarily a bad idea, because if the C turns around and is like, here you go, Ether's on Ped and Myers Ether.
Oh, absolutely. It definitely is not a bad idea. It's just one of those things where it's probably not required and just wasting a little bit of time.
Yeah. I'd personally just rather know in advance, though. It's like, all right, Seed, are you going to try to do this to me, or are you going to be nice?
It's hard to put a price on peace of mind.
Alright, so with Butter Sword and Fire Rod, I'm expecting BigDunka is just gonna fly through this place and kill Moss quickly, assuming it's cooperative.
Yep, and finally, is making the checks that make sense for him. They're all these overworld checks that are very convenient to his location, right next to the crystal dungeon he just cleared. I do want to pay attention the next time he menus if he managed to find that ice rod.
That was a good Moss fight. I can't remember, where was the Ice Rod?
Was the ice rod the back of Sahasrara's hut?
I think it might have been. Alright, here comes Ped. It's a shield. Well, no ride shield today.
And here we go with Dunka going directly to check that medallion. And BigDunka is officially in go mode.
As of, like, what, 3-4 minutes ago?
Yep, now it's confirmed. We have confirmed go mode. He has 4 crystals to finish up, or 3 crystals to finish up. Misery Mire, Palace of Darkness, and Turtle Rock. So not the shortest crystals, but nonetheless, he's going to be tearing through them as quickly as possible. And yeah, making his way to Ganon's Tower after that.
Oh my god, this is gonna be such a good time. Let's just hope that Meyer feels like being cooperative with Big Key Location. Can we get the God Meyer for once when we're actually in go mode?
Yeah, it'd be really nice. Meyer can take, just a couple minutes in go mode, or it could take, 5 or 6. It really can vary depending on that big key location. And unfortunately for fylion right now, he's making checks that make a lot of sense. He's efficiently routing this overworld together, but it's just not what he needs to do right now to get into go mode himself.
Yeah, he needs to make that trip up to Death Mountain. And we do get basically the Godmire, so we're just heading straight back to Vitreous, even with silver arrows.
Yeah, this is a pretty straightforward fight at this point. Silvers make quick work of Vitreous, and heck, even that Butter Sword could tear through him if he wanted to do it that way.
All right, we'll probably get a look at Phylion's inventory after Bombo's tablet, I'd imagine. Or actually before it, because he needs to pull the book out. Yeah, he doesn't have the ice rod, so...
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. Because he's pretty much done in that area. I'm not sure when he'll get back over there. Like, the only way I see him getting to Sajrala's hut, since he did pod in Eastern, is full clearing Swamp and turning into Green Pendant.
Vitrace not wanting to put up with BigDunka. They were actually bopped twice. But still Silver Arrow based fight, so...
So I don't remember exactly where the big key was in Palace of Darkness, but I know that it was early since fylion elected to do the hammer yump since he already had the big key when he made his way to the back.
Curious if it was just on Bo's side.
So this is interesting. fylion is entering Pendant Desert Palace. Now, he did get the boots, he got the book, all this stuff early, and this is the closest he'll ever be to it, so I can get the thinking here, but unfortunately, we know whatever is in here is not going to be what he needs to complete the seed.
Yeah, unfortunately at this point it's just increasing the time between BigDunka and fylion. Alright, let's see where that big key is in pod.
So far, I think fylion's only found a big 20 here in Desert. I'm hoping the last item is in the big chest so that he doesn't go all the way to Landmo.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see him be able to mirror out of here quickly. Oh, there it is. So, well, he's not going to mirror out. I'm lying again.
Yeah, unfortunately, if you come in through the front door there, mirroring out's not going to get you anything unless you have the flute.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot he doesn't have the flute yet. He should be getting it relatively soon, though.
Yeah, it looks like he's making that play on Dark Death Mountain, so we know he will be finding his Fire Rod, his flute, and his Butter Sword. Unfortunately, that Fire Rod is going to be eluding him a little bit longer.
What a silly hookshot cave. He'll probably grab... Yep, he's pulling at the book for powder while he's up here just in case the bat has something.
So it looks like our big key was over here on the right side of Palace of Darkness, so Dunka can just hammer down the peg here and go right to King Helmasaur.
Nice quick setup, not having to run all the way to the back to get it. Definitely.
Fylion getting his red boomerang here in Spike Cave.
I was about to ask what that was because, like, I completely forgot what that was. I'm getting confused with an earlier raid. I was like,
No
oh
worries.
man, he's about to get something good. No, wait.
All right, so now Phylion's making his way to Dark Death Mountain.
I have to say he is definitely putting on a good show. Like, his execution is fantastic. It's just unfortunately not quite the right locations, and being randomizer, you can't possibly know that in advance. So
yeah, and for the most part, his routing has made a lot of sense, and it's been good routing. The one mistake I think, unless I'm misremembering where the ice rod was, but he might have just forgotten to check Sahasrara. And that would just be really unfortunate. But otherwise, his routing decisions have made sense. It's just so has BigDunka's, and it's just turned out that the order BigDunka did it and worked out in this particular seed.
now we're about to have both of them on Dark Death Mountain. Admittedly, one of them will be going into T-Rock to clear it, whereas the other might only be poking into grab. Oh, I hope he doesn't get the fire rod and actually try to clear T-Rock, hoping the ice rod's in there.
I honestly don't know at this point when Fylion will get the ice rod. I could unfortunately see him do just about everything else until he has that green pendant, and then finally finding it.
Well, he's got his flute, butter, sword, and fire rod now.
Yep, and meanwhile, BigDunka is making his way up to Turtle Rock, 102 on the timer right now, and just one crystal away. Also notable that he has Butter Sword, Blue Mail, Silver Arrows, Powder, so he's well stocked to really make quick work of both Turtle Rock and Gannis Tower.
You know, just because we've got Butter Sword, I really hope Ganon gives us a cheese fact. There's something really appropriate about him talking about dairy, and then you just be like, "All right, here, let me tell you about dairy."
That'd be pretty good.
I'm very amused by simple things sometimes.
And it does look like we're going to get simultaneous Turtle Rocks. Not really what we wanted to see, though, because Fylion will not be able to complete this dungeon.
Yeah, this is really unfortunate for him, because now with the actual fire rod, he can go through all of it, regardless of, well, you know, not getting a key there. And he's just probably gonna get to the end of Laser Bridge and be like, "Oh no, this was not the right play." Unfortunately, actually deciding to say, "You know what? I'm going to head all the way back down the mountain and go to, you know, Skull Woods and clear that and start checking other locations," is really hard to do when you're literally standing outside the door.
Yeah, I would say this is a little bit of a gamble play, simply because Misery Mire is now opened up, as well as those nice overworld locations there. But at the same time, Fylion knows that, you know, he's up against a very strong opponent, and this is a kind of play that can win or lose a race, and he's just hoping that this is the play that wins him the race. And it's perfectly logical to make this play.
Yeah, if the ice rod was actually here, we would be in a very, very different position right now. One much favoring Fylion. Chomp Room being its normal obstructive self.
Yeah, fylion took a little bit of damage from those chomps, but he did pick up that powder before he came here, so there are plenty of opportunities to regain your health coming up.
The nice 4 anti-fairy room. Nothing says full health like probably enough fairies to restore you 3 times over. And she gets a quad powder. So BigDunka is just going to skip that chest because he's already got the big key. Doesn't need that. The best thing he could get out of that is his small key back. So
And it does look like BigDunka is opting to gamble that the big chest does not have a small key as well as the vanilla big key chest.
it's relatively safe, I guess. Of course, it stops being safe the second the key is in there, but with all the chests on Laser Bridge.
Yeah, it's usually going to work out for you, but it is a little bit of a gamble. He might be looking at the time and say, hey, I really want to push this time as far as it can go. So just make it a little bit of a gamble here. So at this point, we do know that at least one of the vanilla big key chest, from Duncan's perspective, at least one of the vanilla big key chest or the big chest would have a small key. So he's approaching this laser bridge like, okay, just need one, just need one.
Hey. And we're good. The seed is definitely doing what it can to make this go as quickly as possible. The Godmire, the first chest on Laser Bridge with the small key. Even
yeah, this has been it started out really fast, and then it was like, okay, let's get some crystals, and then it sped right back up again.
And there goes Trinex already.
Yeah, nice fight from Dunka. He has that butter sword, made quick work of Trinex.
And gets a health refill before the health refill. So I believe it's guessing game time.
It is. So at this point, we have 7 crystals, and BigDunka is making its way to Ganon's Tower. There are 22 locations where that big key could be. Get your guesses in. Where do you think that big key will be? How about you, Voidborn Beast? What do you think?
I'm going to go with 2, just because this seed's being really, really nice, and I just want to see as good a time as possible coming out of this at this point, when you're already entering GT at an hour and 9.
You know what? I'm with you. I'll go with 1. I'll one-up you a little bit and go with 1.
All right, GT, let's see what you've got. Well, I guess we're not going to get the God GT among everything else, but
Unfortunately not. We do see fylion is making his way to clean up Skull Woods here, kill Mothula. Might even get a head check from him as well. And from his perspective, he's still looking for that ice rod, not just a potential medallion. So almost certainly we'll get that pedestal check.
Oh, yeah.
So we didn't happen to see the Stolfer's room chest, but as BigDunka continues on, we can safely assume that it wasn't chests 4 through 7 either.
And it's not that one either, because that sounded like a piece of heart. That fire snake really wants to give him a hug.
And we have chest number 9.
I have now seen the big key in every chest in GT.
Oh, congratulations! That's the one you were missing, huh?
Oh yeah. I can no longer complain I've never seen it there, because I have now. Alright, so now we get the gauntlet.
Yep, and fylion does get his crystal from Mothula.
I'm pretty sure BigDunka is gonna fly through here pretty quickly. These red Grias are giving a little bit of a hard time, but it's easy to just get a little bit out of sync with them and be like, well, they're just gonna stand there and shoot you in the face while you're trying to put an arrow in them. Does have to be careful in this room though, because again, spikes ignore your armor upgrades, so.
Yeah, he didn't opt to use that blue potion, so he might just decide to go to the safety room here just to stock back up on health.
I think so, yeah. He's got the bombs out, so.
And meanwhile, fylion is actually checking the magic bat, putting that powder that he got on Death Mountain to use. Good check. It's a quick one, and when you get that early fetch quest, it can oftentimes pay off. So, good check from him. Unfortunately, just 50 rupees.
Alright, now for the gauntlet proper, where he's just going to kill everything with fire. Wow, that's a pretty nice loop.
He kind of just walked his way around there and got them all down. Now, fylion saw that it's Quake, so he knows he's not looking for medallion, but he's still looking for that ice rod, so he'll be opening these chests here. And that's where the red mail was hiding, in Meyer's shed.
Nice, but largely unessential.
Yeah, we're going to add insult to injury here for fylion because we have a Godmire and he is going to be full clearing it.
It's really unfortunate that it's actually turned out this way, because this race could have been both like really fast and really close for both runners, and all it takes is one item location to ruin your run sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. But like what we said before, fylion is doing things that make sense. He's cleaning up convenient overworld locations and clearing crystal dungeons where he can. So this is exactly what he should be doing. He just doesn't realize what he missed, but I would expect after this for him to head to Swamp Palace. Obviously, it's going to be a big time sink, but luckily it will get him that green pendant and get him to Sashrala.
Yeah, all of these plays are based on really, really good logic. It's just unfortunately not the logic for this seed. It's kind of the problem with not a problem. I don't want to say problem because it's why we're here. We absolutely would not be playing this if we didn't enjoy this to an extent. It's just a little bit frustrating when it goes like just so badly due to one item, though.
Absolutely, that's what every runner tries to avoid and just doesn't want to have happen.
But we are, of course, here for an essentially fresh experience through the game every time. So it's both what makes it fun, as well as provides a challenge.
Yeah, and fylion making the play to kill Vitreous first. I like this play. You find that early big key, then you don't have to hit the switch. And if Vitreous has one of the items you're looking for, you only have to go until you find the next one.
Yeah, it's definitely a good play considering he's only looking for one thing. And the triple to finish off Aghanim too.
Yeah, we had a really nice fight there from BigDunka, getting Aga 2 down at the 116 mark and going into the Ganon fight with basically everything on hand. This is going to be a really quick finish.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure this is definitely a sub 120 incoming. With Butter Sword and Silver Arrows, I don't think it takes anywhere near 4 minutes to kill Ganon. I feel like that text is, a quote, but I don't know from what. It wouldn't be out of place in Airplane, though.
I don't know. It could be true. Ganon likes to drop the truth on you sometimes, and it just catches you by surprise, But with that, fylion does pick up his 6 crystals, so now it becomes very important what he does next. He is opting to come back into Mire to make sure he clears it of items. That certainly makes sense.
It's one of those cases of you really don't want to leave. No. Leave anything behind.
And with that, BigDunka has defeated Ganon, holding his sword up high in celebration, and it looks like we're going to get that sub 118.
Oh man, I was nowhere near that time, guess. I was like, 4 minutes, he can do it. He's just like, no, here's 2.
Yeah, and with that, BigDunka finishes in first place with an official Speed Racing TV time of 1 hour, 17 minutes, and 48 seconds. GG, congratulations to BigDunka.
Yep, GG for that run for sure. Great execution and perfect decision making. Meanwhile, fylion unfortunately having to check the cutscene chest. I'm not sure if he's actually found any of the items in here yet, but unfortunately, whatever they are, they're not going to be what he's looking for. I love how the sprite palette can change some of the colors on stuff. We've just got like bright red chests in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, the item layout here in Meyer has not been kind to fylion either. And joining us for an interview is Dunka. Congratulations.
Manny, thank you. Many thanks.
You know, I've always wondered how people can complete seeds that quickly, and now I've seen it, so...
I'm
Wow.
Well, okay. So I thought there was no chance that Meyer was going to be Quake. That's why when I went into, Skullwoods and got the cane, I was like, there's no way. So I kept checking stuff. So like, there's no way it's going to be Quake on both sides. And then when it was, I was just totally relieved.
You still made your way over there really, really quickly on finishing Skullwoods, though, so...
Yeah, I got, Hookshot Cave was insane. Normally I like going up there at that point, just because I like to see what medallions I'm missing, going into where I'm down to 1 or 2 items. And there's 8 items up there to grab, like, whatever, I might as well grab that, and the powder, too, was sitting up there, so I was like, I'll grab all this, and, yeah.
Yeah, the so much stuff in that cave. Your 4th sword, the flute, and fire rod. We were curious if you were actually gonna go and take a look at T-Rock, and we were like, wait a second. Well, not I.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that, not Gorek. But yeah, no K, and I was like, oh wait, I'm being silly.
Yeah, I mean, I like knowing information on that, especially when you're so close to go mode. I wasn't expecting to find 2 of the 3 go mode items, literally right outside the door. Yeah, I mean, the whole time I was like, it's just I totally did not expect Quake to be there. I actually expected it more to be like Bombos or Ether, and then Bombos or Ether to be in Meyer Shed, because that happens all the time.
Well, Bombos was in Meyer.
Okay.
So it couldn't be that one.
Yeah, I didn't. I got the God Meyer, so I didn't check anything there.
There was just a lot of good layouts for the dungeons in general, because T-Rock had the big key before, not on the island. Pod had the big key on the right side to quickly pick it up and just run to Helmasaur from there. So when you got to Gan's Tower, we were basically expecting it to just be like 1st or 2nd chest. Here's big key, small key.
Yeah, no, I have absolutely no complaints. I don't think I could have routed that much better. I'm gonna get crap by my normal viewers about not going to pod early, because that's usually a motto I go by, is to go into pod as soon as possible. But it didn't seem like there were 2 or 3 good routes to go to as soon as I wanted to do Thieves Town to get that out of the way, and then I just went right across the top. What did I get up top? What was I don't remember what I got on the route, the north route, but then I went down to Hype Cave, got the gloves, and I'm like, okay, this seed is totally open now. And I wanted to check the south, because I didn't check the dam or Moldorm Cave until like 45 minutes or something like that. I was hoping I didn't miss like the flute early. That would have set me way back.
fylion actually did check the Dark South region a fair bit sooner, so he actually had his mitts for a while, but he did unfortunately lose a fair bit of time by going into T-Rock, because when he went up to Hookshot Cave, he already had the cane, so that he didn't have Ice Rod when he got up there. So so for all intents and purposes, you're putting off of South Shore, which actually turned out to be for the better for the most part. Just kind of got offset by that. Unfortunately, did South Shore even have anything good for you?
I think so. I think it was heart containers. That was it.
Oh man, there was at one point in the race where you had like 3 hearts, and we looked over at fylion and streamed for a little bit, and then looked back at you, and you had like 10. It's like, where did you find those?
Yeah, they all came at once. It was a Sphere on Death Mountain, and the Paradox Cave up there had, I think, 2. And then yeah, the other ones were down south. I think they were 1 or 2 in Hive Cave too. So yeah, that was tough. The early route with only 2 or 3 hearts was interesting.
But it was a really, really fun race to watch. A lot of really good execution, and again, as you noted, it would be almost impossible to route better. So,
yeah, in hindsight, because I didn't do the Smithy route or Pyramid Check or South route or Desert, and I thought about going to Desert super early with the book and the lantern. I really thought about it, and it's just like, nah, we'll just go up north of the mountain, see what we get, and go from there. Luckily, the Moon Pearl was totally vanilla today. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise. I wasn't personally expecting that up there.
So the one early route divergence was fylion went to South Shore when you were doing Eastern Palace. But then as soon as he got to the Dark World, he did the Pod Eastern combo, which made sense given that he had not done Eastern yet. Unfortunately, at 9 top.
Yeah, I know that the early, obviously, I mean, not going over that way was actually great because I got to go mode Pod, which is, 3-minute time save, maybe we'll call it that, because the key was early. It was on the Bowlock side. So, the early dip into Eastern and not being able to route that one efficiently didn't hurt at all. In fact, it kind of helped.
Yeah, the interesting thing is both of you were making choices that made complete sense based on what you had, and when you diverted in the early game, both routes were equally valid, but it's just one route really, really worked out and the other one didn't.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't think I could. There may be a few little tweaks I could have ran a little bit better, and I guess if I had decided to check Meyer immediately, then maybe I wouldn't have checked a few additional items. But I didn't, I didn't want to head to Meyer. I didn't have the cane yet, so it's like there's no point even going down there if I don't have it. So I was just very fortunate that cane was right there en route with Skullwoods, and I checked 2 or 3 places after that, and just headed down there, and that was it. And how we already had silvers and butter at that point.
I think you only actually really looked at the pedestal before heading down after beating the Moth.
Yeah, I looked at the ped just in case, because I wouldn't have held it, Bombos or Ether could have been there easily, and then we would have had a very different, a very different match at that point. I would have had to start clearing other dungeons, so I wanted to look at that first.
Yeah, it's absolutely a safe precaution to make, just to make sure it's not there. That way, if you get down to Meyer and it is 1 of the 2, it's like, well, I already know where that is. So
exactly. That's why it's like I'm not ready. I felt I would have been probably ahead with that route the way it went. If I was behind, it couldn't have been by much. So I was like, I can afford to check a few extra places here just to be on the safe side.
So it does look like fylion is making that Swamp Palace play. The good news is that this will eventually force him back to Sahasrara's hut, and he will realize where this seed went wrong once he gets there.
Yeah, I jumped in my channel after my chat told me that he missed the ice rod. Is it because the way he went to Eastern and Pod? Is that route, and he just didn't stop by Sahasrara?
Yeah, I think it just slipped his mind. He just forgot to mirror. I don't know if he planned to do it afterwards and forgot, or what it was, but yeah, unfortunately, that's what's tripping him up. But the really good thing, if there's anything good to say about this, is that the spot he missed is one that the seed will force him back to here pretty soon.
Oh, because Swamp is green. Yeah, that's a good point. He'll hit himself over the head when he sees it. I mean, that's one of those. It's just, that's a hard one. But when you do that out of order and try to, it's easy to slip up. That happens to everybody. Well, gentlemen, I appreciate everything. I need to step away for a second. I need to use the restroom. So thanks to both of you guys, trackers, restreamers, everybody again. Everybody appreciates the work you guys put into this.
And thank you for running, and congratulations yet again.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And with that, just a reminder, give our runners a follow. They put on a great show for us tonight. It was a great race, just a fun seed to watch. So go ahead if you like what you saw and drop them a follow.
All right, thanks, everyone.
All right, so fylyon's at least showing us some items that we haven't seen yet. During the interview, we did see Sankart was on Cold Stare. That's an interesting place for that to show up.
We've had a couple of cases of getting a health refill immediately before picking up a crystal or a pendant, and just being like, "Thanks, game." I guess saves a little bit of time, so. So it looks like he's going to tackle left side immediately. Makes sense because he is looking for... He's not going to leave here without checking every item anyways, so...
Yeah, I think he's just resigned himself to full clearing the seed until he finds the ice rod. So normally when you're one item from go mode, you do like to go to the back first. But I think, and I've been here before myself, like we're just doing left side first. And we're just finding, we're not leaving a thing behind. We're just finding this item and finishing this seed.
Even with clearing like these pendant dungeons, since he's been to all 3 of them now, he's still pulling a really, really good time for having been in not just every dungeon, but also having been all the way through T-Rock once already, so...
Oh, absolutely. And, he knows that something went wrong in this seed. With the Speed Racing TV race room up, he knows that BigDunka finished, approximately 15 minutes ago, and he's got to be beating himself over the head. Like, what happened? What did I miss? There has to be something that's just easy. What kind of play did BigDunka make to find that ice rod?
Yeah, if I saw a time like that, I'd be thinking it's got to be something like really, really early and easily accessible. Because a time that quick doesn't scream pendant dungeons. But of course, it's really easy to say that until they do in fact go into a pendant dungeon and it's right there, and you're like, oh. So it's not safe to go based on timers alone.
Yep, so fylyon's making its way here to the back of Swamp Palace. I'm not sure how many items he's found yet, but regardless, he will be clearing Argus for that green pendant.
And hopefully immediately heading back to Sasrala to turn that in. I think when he sees it, he'll be like, did I check that earlier? And hopefully that'll encourage him to go pick up a 4-item location.
And literally the second that he walks inside Sasrala's hut, he'll know exactly what happened.
Opting to not head back and use the big key immediately. He's gonna head for Argus at this point.
Yeah, actually, if you go ahead and time it, it seems unlikely, but especially if you have the boots, it's actually faster to just come back in and run to it afterwards.
I guess that's fair because you don't have to go up the stairs, run back a room, come back down the stairs. Oh, there's another extra room in there, is there not?
You have like a really nice a couple long rooms to dash through and one room to swim through, and you're pretty much back to the big chest. So it really doesn't take that long.
And if it is a dungeon item, you just don't have to head back at all.
Very true. Okay, so I'm not sure if fylion found the map. If he did, and there's an item in the big chest, I would expect him to go check that. But as soon as that's over with, I would expect him to go to Sashrala. It looks like the green pendant is the play.
Yep. Here comes a check. Oh man, I just noticed the collection rate on Dunka's side. 120.
It is an impressively low collection rate.
And now he's going to destroy this chest.
Yep. We got the bomb action, we got the cane action, we got the bombos.
Don't attack that chest. It didn't do anything wrong. Come
We
on,
got
what
some Quake going on. We have quite the demonstration.
that poor right chest. Just holding an arrow upgrade and getting quaked anyways.
So the really crazy thing is, this has been pretty much a full overworld clear, and for fylion, a full dungeon clear. He has a go mode Turtle Rock where he's already gotten all the keys, and Gigantus Tower ahead of him, and it's still only 137. So he's really done a good job with this seed, except for that just unfortunate early skip.
It's still a great demonstration that even making a mistake, these runners are considered to be so good for a reason. Still pulling this sort of time, even with all of this extra stuff. It's unfortunate that a single decision can hurt them that badly, but it's definitely a testament to their skill that it's still going by this quickly. Or was it at least? In any case, even though technically speaking, Go mode T-Rock isn't that much faster, he still has the option of just going straight through all of the rooms without having to stop for anything. So it's unfortunate that he has to come back in here, but it will be faster than his first visit by a fair bit.
Yeah, absolutely. But when you have boots and you've already opened everything in Turtle Rock, it only takes about 3 minutes from the front door to when you're leaving to get it done. So he'll be through here pretty quickly. So obviously we're trying to get through some technical difficulties. I'm sure fylion has been making quick work of Turtle Rock.
fylion uses Ice Rod on our connection. Oh, hey, speaking of.
And there he is. Trinex exploding, and we're getting that 7th crystal.
I mean, Trinex is the master of exploding, so I wouldn't expect him to be doing anything else. I don't know why they thought that fight needed so many explosions in it.
I mean, when you come to think of it, why do like most of the bosses just explode? They're just like Ganon making his, minions just load up on explosives. I don't like. There's no real reason why these guys should be exploding, right?
I mean, there's a trope for this. It's called made of explodium. Clearly, that's what all of his minions are made out of.
I mean, even Cold Stare explodes.
He's a very spicy type of cotton candy. Actually, the one I'd be questioning most is like Argus or Vitreous. It's like you've got an aquatic creature and a bunch of eyeballs and goo.
So fylion is making his way here through the left side. We know he has just a few chests to check, and we'll find that big key pretty soon in the Fire Snake room.
Fortunately, the sea definitely pushing them to go left side first, so not give them any keys at all. I didn't realize we got shovel in here. Oh wow. Okay, so it had to be Quake on Meyer.
Yeah, it absolutely did. Both other medallions were locked behind Quake, so yeah, absolutely.
It actually kind of would have been preferable for fylion than if T-Rock was Bombos, because that actually required going into Meyer first and would have prevented him from taking that early dive. I honestly don't think it would have encouraged him to go back to Sahasrara any sooner, though. Alright, well, he's about to get his big key and make his way up to the gauntlet after a little bit of fun with some gorillas. And by fun, I mean turning them to kebabs.
Making very quick work of those red mimics.
I'm really curious as to why they made the decision to change those guys from boomerang throwing enemies that just kind of wander around or back and forth to motion mimicking energy blast shooting enemies. It just seems like a bit of an odd jump to me.
You know, they decided that they needed to be a little bit more interesting, I suppose. Or they just decided they didn't want to give enemies boomerangs.
Actually, I can kind of understand that. I'm sure the last thing they wanted was to have a projectile that stays on screen for quite some time while you're trying to shoot silver arrows at them. And that would be so much lag.
It's not like this game has plenty of frames to give as far as the lag goes. It's yeah, for sure.
I'm curious how fast it would actually go if you got into like the Ganon fight with 4 good bees and just launched them all during the during the fire bat phase.
It'd probably be a lot like Randomizer in Thieves Town. Like it's just a lag. It's all you do is just lag.
I mean, you can bring out the Cane of Brine for some extra fun.
See fylion making quick work of these land mode. Not the last one, not cooperating, giving him the short hop there, but getting him down.
Has to be a little bit safe going forward. The next few rooms aren't. They're not particularly difficult, but he is only at 4 hearts at the moment.
Yeah, he should be fine, but as long as he is watching what's going on, he'll be okay.
Oh, I have full confidence that he can finish probably the rest of the game with 4 hearts. It's just sometimes the enemies feel like being a little bit uncooperative.
Yeah, we did see him dash down the left side there, probably because of his lower hearts. There are a few RNGs and pixels where, despite just dashing at them on the right side, you can get knocked back, and it can become a little dangerous.
Being a little bit fast there. I always get a little bit nervous when people go very quickly up that ladder.
Yeah, I think he still had some time before things would have gone south with the despawn, but yeah, it's always something you have to be mindful of.
All right, getting the fairy. Time for Moldworm 2. And goodbye, Moldworm 2.
The head fake for the last chest of the game.
Chooses to taunt chat. Good move. I mean...
let's be honest. I think fylion says, you know what? I've opened way too many chests in this game.
There's been enough treasure hunting going on. Doesn't need to be anymore.
Yeah, that first RNG there for the Aga-2 fight is really tough to deal with, but making it up with that nice triple there in the second phase.
And getting the... No. Triple-double. Double-triple.
Yeah, we'll just forget that first phase happened, and we'll call it a double-triple. I'm on board.
I've called it a triple-triple before, and chat was like, wait, what? Look, I was trying to place a coffee order. Alright, I expect this to go about as quickly as Dunka's as well, because, again, basically fully armed at this point. And we're basically on phase 3 already.
Yeah, it's certainly a quick fight when you have Butter Sword. Makes those first couple phases much easier to get the 1-1.
Get in, please. I always like how he asks you, did you find the arrows? And then you just immediately stick one in his face. It's like, take a guess. Oh no! Oh no! It's time for Silverless.
Oh no.
Oh, this is terrible. I mean, he stays damaged, so it's okay. It's not that bad. It's not like he has to completely do silverless, but
Yep, just 3 more spins to get it done. And I think fylion is just happy for it to be over at this point. Whenever a seed goes south like that, and you have the courage to just go through and fight through and finish it up, you're just happy to get it over with.
well, GG to fylion. Definitely a big thank you for finishing off the seed. I'm sure he might not share that sentiment about GG, but he definitely pushed through to the end, as you said. So still putting on a good show for everyone, and his execution was like really fantastic to watch. So.
And he finishes in 2nd place with an official SRL or Speed Racing TV time of 1:51.08. And now joining us in chat here is fylion. GG, fylion.
GG, and good work to BigDunka on that.
Yeah, it was a potentially fast seed, as you can see. BigDunka he routed well, he played well, and the route indifference really worked out for him too. So really didn't seem like he could make a wrong choice, and a really nice race on his part.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that finish, and I said, okay, he did something that was really weird and out there. And of course, at that time, I'd forgotten where I hadn't checked. But even without that, I think he would have beaten me, just because I expect he went right up to Death Mountain in the Dark World, and that would make a heck of a difference in this race.
Yeah, it was one of his first checks after Mitz was to go up there. He actually went up there without the Cane of Samaria, but he got that knowledge of the Quake Medallion and the Fire Rod, which did finally send him to Skull Woods, which you had already checked the front of, and then he was pretty much in go mode at that point.
Yeah, I can see how that all would have gone. So, yeah, he did really well on that. I was hoping I could pull a 150. The big key in Ganon's Tower kind of prevented that at the end, but I'm kind of okay with that time I got, considering how much of the world I cleared.
Oh yeah, that's a phenomenal time for being in every dungeon and clearing a large portion, or like most of the overworld. So you got everywhere with very good speed.
Yeah, I'll take that. And I think the lesson for everyone to take away, if you were watching this, is actually play the game more. Because I commentate so much and I do so much other stuff that when I actually sit down to play a seed, I don't think of things like, oh, I should check Sahasrahla, because I'm going through the Dark World, and I just go, hey, of course I've checked Sahasrahla, I'm half an hour into the seed. Why wouldn't I have?
It's a bit of an easy spot to miss, because that logic does make like absolute sense of, I probably would have come over here. It's in a location that can be checked right at the start, so...
And I would say you're never past making mistakes, no matter how much you wish. This morning I went to GT with 6 crystals, which I hadn't done in a while, but, things happen.
And, also, keep track of your arrow count going up the tower, because I got really confused for a second there in the cannon fight, but hey, that's at least a mistake that's recoverable.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know that pain myself. I've probably gone into that fight with 3 arrows way too many times.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing saying you can't pick up more arrows in the tower. I think there's some even in the room right after Landmo too. It's just one of those things you actually have to pay attention to while you're playing.
It's really easy to stop when you're that late in the game paying attention to a tiny little number at the top of your screen, so...
It's like when you get to the mini Helmasaur room, and that's when you finally look up your key count to make sure you have at least one.
Yeah, Yeah, it's a lot like that.
The only difference is that one hurts a lot more when you get up there and see a 0. It's like, no.
Yeah. Fortunately, I was well covered for that. They sure front loaded the keys in GT with that one.
Yeah, it took a little bit to get the big key itself, but as soon as you picked it up, it's like, there's no way I don't have enough keys for this.
Yeah, so sorry, I'm just stalling at this point until my collection rate shows up. But I want to give a big congrats to BigDunka again. He and I faced each other in the 2v2 tournament, the 2v2 mystery tournament last week, and that one was a pretty close race as well. So, or that one was a pretty close race, unlike this one, I should say. So he was out for revenge, and I think he massively achieved that goal today.
Yeah, as he was noting, like I don't think it was really there wasn't too much he could have done to have actually cleared this faster. Every decision he made had something that he needed there, basically, and it just worked out perfectly. And he was just playing so well on top of that.
Yeah, I expect had I not made the mistake I did, I probably would have come in with something like a 125, which, is, I'm going to call anything under 130 pretty good, but it was nothing in comparison to a blazing fast sub 80. So
So, any thoughts looking ahead in the tournament now? Obviously nobody wants to fall into the 1-1, but still very much alive.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like if I execute at the same rate I did today, I'll be doing okay in the tournament. I just need to put a lot of practice into actually playing seeds through all the way, making sure I'm checking every spot, and even probably going all the way through the gauntlet just to make sure I'm keeping an eye on my arrow count as I play. But one thing I can tell you is those are two mistakes I'm not making for a long time to come. And, okay, that's about what I thought it would be. I won't spoil the surprise, but I'll let you guys take it out here.
I mean, we could start guessing until we see it.
I'll say 178.
165, I guess.
That's pretty good. But no, thank you guys for commentating this, because getting matches restreamed is a really important thing, and we actually can't do it without commentators. So thank you too for stepping up.
Yeah, and thank you, fylion, for putting on a race. It was a great show. You played some great execution and some good routing, except for that one little mishap. So everybody out there, if you liked what you saw tonight, go ahead and give our runners a follow. They put on a great show for us, and it was just a really nice seed to see. We don't get to see sub 118 times very often, so it was a lot of fun. Also, a shout out to our tracker, Ms. Metroid. Very well done. We had a few hiccups along the way, and they stayed right on top of it throughout everything. So very much appreciated. We could not do this without their help. I also want to say thank you to my co-commentator, Voidborn Beast, who jumped in here on a moment's notice, because I was up here solo commentating for the first 5 to 10 minutes, and my savior made this a lot more fun and it was a pleasure to commentate with you. So thank you.
I feel like I should apologize for talking over you a couple of times, but...
Oh no, it went very well, and really appreciate it.
And definitely a big thank you to you as well for, holding on for quite a bit at the start there. It was a lot of fun. So GG to Dunka and fylion again, and good luck to the both of you in the future.
Yep, and there is plenty of randomizer action coming up later tonight. I think right now there is a match ongoing on Speed Gaming 5. Later on at 11:30, there is a match on Speed Gaming 3, and at 1 a.m., there's actually a match on Speed Gaming 2. So that'll be it for tonight after that. But then tomorrow we pick up with there's a ton of races tomorrow. I'm not even going to start listing out the times, but you turn into a Speed Gaming channel and you will see them.
Oh my god, yeah, there's so much rando going on at the moment.
So anyway, everybody, thanks for joining us and have a wonderful evening. And I'll let my co-com have the last word.
All right, have a good night, everyone.